lot of people no longer just go straight to Google. They go to YouTube, they go to Instagram, they go to TikTok, and they'll search for problems that come up because now they get video that visually shows them how to do the thing they're searching for. More so applicable to blue collar trades like plumbing and construction and roofing and all these aspects versus search. And so it's even more effective. And a lot of the time, if you start making content strategically around a lot of these search terms in the blue collar space, you can really rank up for that, especially if you do it consistently and you do it at better levels of quality, and you do it with more engineered scripting and you're testing viral hook frameworks. And that's how you can really start to stand out on socials. And so I love all those boring businesses. And I think there's massive opportunity for it. Also in the blue collar space is very tech adverse. So I know a lot of private equity companies doing roll-ups, et cetera, will just go in and they'll find great businesses that have been here for decades, but have no tech stack, right? And no systems in place. And so you can just implement that. And that's your value add structure as part of the roll up strategy. A big piece of that too could be incorporating socials, because the reality is most of these blue collar businesses that have been around for a few decades, they built up their quote unquote brand in the local marketplace just by primarily word of mouth and referrals is going to be the base level. A lot of them will work with a HomeAdvisor, right? And then they're all like chasing shared leads. Someone comes into HomeAdvisor, it gets dispersed to 8 roofing companies at once, and there's whoever gets them first type of deal. And that can become challenging. And so there's a huge arbitrage in being the one that builds a brand, right? And my recommendation for really starting to turn social media into a consistent, predictable marketing channel for you is step one, create content, because it's very hard to run profitable ads today without great quality content because you have no brand. And a lot of people, they want to go to your profile and do their due diligence before they're going to follow through with your ad. And so it's backwards of trying to start with ads first. So step one is content, and you want quality content, because if you're creating bad quality content and people see your ad, they go to your profile and it's bad, they're not going to trust you and they're not going to move forward either. So if you want profitable ads and you want to be able to scale ads, that's a big piece of it. And then secondly, you can start to add ads on top of that. And you need a great sales process and a good offer stack. But that can become a massive, massive competitive edge, especially in these blue collar spaces, because not a lot of businesses have cracked the code. And there's a lot of money in the space, right? The margins are great. The LTV, like those are high ticket service businesses that we're talking about. And so it's very easy to be profitable
Yeah.
and have that be a big edge.
I love it. I want you to sort of explain to me, we've got a little bit of time left, about a 10 minutes, but I really would like you to sort of explain to me how difficult the conversation is, um, where let's say one of these boring businesses happens to slip into your funnel and your sales folks at media scaling are talking to them and they're sort of explaining this strategy, right? Of social media domination, of building, of building and promoting and really creating this enterprise level brand on social media. But and what you're promising, right, in terms of views is an amazing offer. And for them, it must all sound like, unicorns and rainbows up until the point where you lay it on them and you're like, "But you gotta create the content."
Mhm.
And they're like, "What?" They're like, "I'm a plumber. I do drywall.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do I pour concrete. Like, what do you mean I have to make content?" And you're like, "Yeah, that's the whole deal." So, talk me through how you explain that to them, right? These are specialty contractors, and now we're asking them to become, or if not become, at least balance being an entrepreneur and also being an actor,
Mhm.
right? And I use the word actor sort of in quotations, but if there's a script and there's a hook, I mean,
Right. Yeah.
these are right. These are like fundamental aspects of acting. Um, But talk to me about how you explain that to them, and is that a big detractor? Do people say, "Well, what you're offering, Logan," or, you're talking to your sales team, but what you're saying, media scaling, sounds awesome, and these are the results I want, and I understand the value, and I want consistent and predictable leads, but I can't make this content. I don't have a team of videographers and This sounds overwhelming. Talk me through that.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Um, that's not our job on the sales process, right? Like people don't, by the time that they're on a sales call, we'd have plastered it everywhere in our marketing, our VSLs, our X, Y, and Z, or sales automations, letting them know like, hey, this is who this is a fit for, and this is who it's not a fit for. And a lot of it is telling them like, this is for people who are actually creating content or committed to starting throughout the entire process. And so, does it never happen? No, but our job on the sales call is not typically to first sell someone on why they should create content, right? Typically, we filtered things down and gotten our marketing in a place to where they're coming to us. They already know why they should be creating content, and they're just looking at who's the best team to work with and how can they do it better. But in terms of that conversation that I would have, we do create front end content around this as well. And I've had plenty of conversations. A big piece of it is understanding that it truly is one of the highest leverage things that you can do for your business, right? The more time that you put towards that, if you're following the right processes, the more your overall business is going to grow. It truly is a rising tide that raises all ships. Additionally, it does not have to take nearly as much time as people think. A lot of our businesses who come to us when we're just, because this is an instance to where you'd basically be building the brand from the ground up, right? Like they're just getting started. And so anytime that we're working with a business where that's the case, we're able to script things out for them to where by the time that you receive the scripts or the outline, it'll take you less than 2 hours per month to film all the content. You can do it in one day, in one filming session. Let's say your target is 30 videos short form per month, right? If you have the full scripts and outlines prepared for that, you can knock that out in a 2, 3 hour filming session and you're done for the month. And that can make it very easy and sustainable for business owners who are open to that. But I know the persona of plumbers and roofers and HVAC technicians. I know the space, and I know a lot of them. They're tech adverse, and they're very adverse to that. And if you bring up the word active, they're going to run the other way, right? And so it's not that. It's more so just the building your business. But at the same time, last there's two more options. One is people are consistently surprised at how open and willing and exciting some of their team members are to be able to film content for the business, right? And so a lot of the time, if you as the owner don't want to do it, that's totally fine. But you need someone to do it, right? Personality is required. It's very hard. You're going to have much less success on social media trying to build a brand without personality and do it faceless versus if you have personality. But it doesn't always have to be the founder, right? And so my next step is I would go and see, hey, is there anyone on the team who kind of has a knack for this? They already, if you go on their personal social media profiles, they're already creating content all the time. They just like to do it. And if so, like offer them the opportunity, and tons of people would jump at it. Worst case scenario, you offer them a quote unquote promotion and you pay them extra $500 a month and they'll happily do it for you. Right. And then the last case is there's now a marketplace of UGC creators, which stands for user generated content, or influencers who would do it for you. And this is their profession, creating content, right? And so it's basically hiring an actor for your brand. It's hiring a flow from the insurance brand. I'm blanking on it. But it's hiring that mascot for your brand to create content for you. The biggest thing is they need to look like your persona. A little recently, I connected with an HVAC company that is based in Arkansas, and they supply to a pretty large market throughout Arkansas, but it's mainly Southern Arkansas, right? And so you want the people who are creating content for your brand to just be like everyone else in Southern Arkansas. You want them to have the accent. You want to call them out specifically and be like Arkansas residents and your town residents. If you do that in your content, you're going to rank for those search terms. You're going to own the search because almost no local businesses do it. And additionally, the organic algorithm is the same algorithm for advertising, right? That has trillions of data points on all of us. And today on socials, especially with short form content, it gets served a lot to non followers that are also targeted based on their interests and demographics. So if you're a plumber and you're calling out your local area in your content, the platform is way smart enough to be able to then know to serve that to your local area because they know that that's who's going to be interested in seeing your content. And so you do pick up a lot of that same type of quote unquote ad targeting if you will.